We are all born with all of the hair follicles we'll ever have, and about 100,000 hair follicles reside on our scalp. As you know, when it comes to losing your hair, it's very typical to lose about 50 to 100 strands every single day, just naturally, and that's perfectly normal. As soon as that hair falls out, a new strand is already preparing to come in its place. So your hair actually grows from a root at the bottom of your hair follicle in the epidermis. The blood in your scalp flows to the follicle and supplies your follicle with essential nutrients and oxygen, which helps your hair to grow. So if we're looking for ways to help improve our hair growth and nurture our scalp and promote a healthy environment for our hair to be able to grow to its fullest potential, there are a lot of things that we can do to avoid impaired growth and increased shedding. We cannot control everything around us that affects our hair growth. We will be subject to environmental factors. The products and the medications we might use can have side effects that lead to hair thinning. Also a variety of inner health conditions like thyroid disorders or chemotherapy-induced alopecia. These are all things that many of you suffer through, and these can affect the way that your hair grows from within. But sometimes there are things that are avoidable that we can change, and those avoidable things are what I want to cover today. You never want to introduce anything to your lifestyle that helps to facilitate hair loss. One of the most common things that I see with Kristen users who are experiencing hair loss that's not related to stress or medication or sickness or hormonal fluctuations is their diet. Restrictive dieting can contribute greatly to hair thinning and hair loss. It's very important to eat a well-balanced diet that is full of iron, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, all of your B vitamins, even including biotin, zinc, your omega-3s and omega-6s. And a lot of times I see with our users, especially those who go vegetarian, is that their protein intake is not nearly as much as it should be, because your hair is made out of about 80 to 90% keratin, which is a complex protein. Keratin also makes up the majority of your skin and your nails. Now, keratin is built up of about 18 essential and non-essential acids, and your body needs those building blocks in order to grow healthy new hair. Now, according to your lifestyle, it's recommended that you take about 1 gram of protein for every 2 pounds of body weight. Another common thing that I see with our users is a lot of hair breakage, and this is avoidable, and I've taught this before, but there are a few different areas where your hair is the most vulnerable. Number one is if you're using any heat styling tools. Heat styling tools cause damage to your hair strands that is irreparable and should be prevented if possible in the first place. You want to just try not to use heat styling tools if you can avoid it. Sometimes this is inevitable and you need it for your profession, or like today I straightened my hair because I'm going to be cutting it. I always straighten my hair before I cut it just so I know it's even. So sometimes you will be using heat styling tools, but trying to limit it as much as possible will protect your hair strands and allow them to grow a lot longer. Hair breakage is especially prominent in those with curly hair, and that's just because of the way that curly hair comes out of the follicular shaft when it's growing. It comes out at a steep angle, and it's very vulnerable to dryness and breakage because of that, where straight hair is a little bit less likely to be vulnerable to breakage. Another reason that hair breaks so easily that I can see is just the way that people brush their hair. I love to brush my hair when it's damp, because I find that if it's dry, if it's too dry, sometimes it's more vulnerable to breakage than when it's extremely wet. However, you have to be extremely careful, because when your hair is very wet, that's when it's the most vulnerable. So as soon as you're out of the shower, if your hair is extremely tangled and you go to brush it, it will stretch and it will snap and break, and this type of breakage causes split ends that need to be trimmed. Instead, something that I would suggest is always brush your hair prior to putting your oil treatments and prior to shampooing. Make sure your hair is fully brushed before then. And then when you go to wash your hair, try not to tangle it up so much. Make sure that your hair is straight as you wash it, and down, and comb your hair with your fingers in the direction of your hair growth instead of twisting and knotting and spinning your hair into tangles. Now, when looking at hair regrowth, it really helps to stimulate hair production and hair growth by distributing your hair's natural oils, getting scalp massages. And the best way to do this is if you have like a boar bristled brush, take a boar bristled brush and work your way up, starting at the ends of your hair, and just very gently comb from the ends all the way up to the top, to the roots. And then when you get to your scalp, just brush your hair in all different directions, and this will help stimulate blood flow. You can also do scalp massages, and I've gotten a lot of questions about like how long you should massage your scalp for. There is really no, you can never really massage your scalp for too long, especially if you're doing it gently. And it's something that should stimulate blood flow because you want to open up your blood vessels. Vasodilation is a very important thing when you're considering hair growth, because hair grows from the root, and the root is nourished by your blood vessels. So if you're able to open up those blood vessels and increase the oxygen and nutrients going into your hair follicle, the better your chances are of maintaining healthy growth. Another thing that is very popular, which I haven't really taught very much, but it's very important, and it's called the inversion method of blood flow stimulation. What the inversion method of blood flow stimulation means is it's pretty much being upside down. And there are several ways to do this, but the technique that is most popular is to kind of hang upside down for about 4 minutes. And you can do this by, if you're strong enough, you can do a handstand or a headstand for 4 minutes. But the safer way for those like me who are less athletically inclined is to just lie on your bed with your head hanging off of your bed. Now you'll see when children do handstands and stuff, their faces get red, and that's because of all that extra blood flow going to the scalp. And so if you're going to do the inversion method, just go to your bed and let your head fall off the end of your bed, and for 4 minutes, every single day for about 7 days, just try to keep your head upside down and see how that feels, because there are so many people who swear by this, that their hair grows so much in such a short amount of time by allowing that blood flow to come. That blood flow is so important, which is why the christin oil is so important, because of the terpene oils that help to open up those blood vessels and stimulate blood flow. And this is just another very fun way of getting it. You want to try to have fun with your hair growth. Make it a process that is happy and healthy for you, something that takes stress away from you and invites a feeling of positivity into your life. So this is a very good way, is by doing that inversion method. And the last thing that I want to talk about today has to do with your hair cuticle. And your cuticle is like a tile on a roof, and the cuticle is the outer layer of your hair strand, and there's a lot of these little tiles surrounding your hair strand. And when those tiles are flat and pressed down, those cuticles reflect light. Your hair is shiny. It also protects your medulla and your cortex from environmental damage, and so your hair is strengthened. It's less prone to breakage. But when your cuticles are raised, that is when your hair is going to be staticky, easy to tangle, and very prone to breakage because the protective cuticle, it's like a fiber that interlocks with all of the other cuticle fibers, if that makes sense. And so the way that you want to protect your cuticle and to keep it flat and keep it down, as you know, oiling is a very effective way of doing that. When you use the chrism oil, it makes your hair extremely shiny and soft. That's because the oils help the cuticle to be sealed. But another way is to actually wash your hair with water that is cool or room temperature. If you can't handle that type of water, even lukewarm water is better than hot. You want to avoid using hot water on your hair because it opens the cuticle and it makes your hair that much more prone to breakage. So when you wash your hair, you're shampooing it or whatever, try to use cool water. Keep your cuticle flat. All of these tips that I'm sharing with you, these are things that will help you if you're looking to just try to grow your hair in the healthiest way possible without hindering it in any way. We have enough problems as it is that we don't really want to add to it. So if you can implement any of these habits into your routine, I think you're going to see great results. And let me know if you're able to do these things. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.